Okay, so welcome everybody. I don't know what the weather is doing where you're at, but I will say this morning the sun was shining. I came into Lexington for a meeting. I left the meeting and it was snowing like crazy. So I don't know. I'm done. It's the snow and the snow, the sun, the snow, the sun. I'm ready for just some sun, and I would handle rain actually. I'm just over snow though. So I hope wherever you are, sun is shining on your beautiful faces so that you can get some great vitamin D today. Um, Welcome you all. We are going to, I think Amy Einsinger was going to join today, and if she hops on late, we'll just start with Amy so that she can give an evaluation update. I can tell you what I know. Her evaluators have started making contact out with programs and did their parents, if not all of them, I think they've done most of their parent focus group meetings so they can get feedback from their parents. And then the evaluators asked for as many teachers and center directors names that I actually only center director names or family child care home provider names or preschool director names and emails as possible so that they could get some better demographic data. They were thinking that those individuals would know those demographics better than district managers would. So you may or may not, if you're a center director or preschool director, have received an email from the UMC Monroe Meyer Institute. If you have and you haven't opened yet, that's basically what they're asking for. So, which is really helpful for us so that we kind of know what our demographics are too, so we can make sure that we're addressing the need or possibly looking at gaps that need to be filled when we get that data back. I'm just going to turn it over to Teddy. I'm going to wrap it up at the end of the meeting with a few house cleaning agendas, but I really wanted Teddy to talk today about how Ready Rosie fits into many of the listed curriculums that a lot of you already use, as well as assessments, and how easy it's set up to use it as a tool to enhance all of those things. It really is, it's owned by Teaching Strategies. So if that gives you any idea as far as that goes, they have really tried to make sure they've integrated their family engagement tools towards those curriculums and assessments and all of that. So I'm going to turn it over to Teddy and let her go. Maybe I need to share my screen probably, huh?
Okay. Let me just say up front that this may be more information than you want. It may be stuff you already know, but I thought it was a good starting point. And then when we're done, you guys can certainly tell me, well, you know, next time we really would like to know more information about this or this or this. So this was kind of Shauna and me kind of figuring out what best to share with you guys. So let me share my screen here. And just for my mind, I just put together a PowerPoint presentation, not to be formal. Please feel free, like we normally do, to jump in and ask questions in the chat or unmute yourself or whatever. And I also want to say, just so in full transparency, you know, I think I've said before, the marriage between Teaching Strategies and Ready Rosie is still relatively new. I'm still in my first marriage, but I have heard from people that have gotten into a second marriage and even some with a third, that it takes about a year and a half to kind of, you know, do that dance of how you're going to bring two things together. And that's where we are with Ready Rosie. So you haven't seen a lot of integration up to this point, just the single sign-on, but by August, you will see a lot more integration between the two platforms, where you will be able to access Ready Rosie a lot more just through when you sign on to My Teaching Strategies. So what I'm going to show you today are what we lovingly call some workarounds, but know that come August, there will be a lot more seamless integration. So we'll get started. And so just an FYI for you guys, because you may not know it, I think we posted it about a week and a half ago, that when you log on under the develop section where you can take those free courses to learn about different things and teaching strategies, when you scroll down, we did add a Ready Rosie one. And so when you click on that, there are 2 modules. The first one gives just a real high level overview of Ready Rosie. And then that assets piece that some of you all may not be familiar with, where you're identifying strengths in your families. And then the second module, or the second component, each of the different modules either addresses like classrooms, playlists, library, and resources and things like that. And so none of them are long. What does it say? I don't remember how much. I think the total time to do all of it is an hour and a half. But if you're a quick reader, you can get it done a lot faster. So that's there. If you're just kind of curious and you want to kind of go back through, it is the training for the most part that we do live on site with different programs. So that's new. So I just want to let you guys know about that. Then I just wanted to remind you that under resources, when you click on alignment documents, we do have the alignments to Early Head Start and Head Start. We have the learning opportunities listed. Also, if you click on the PFCEs right here, we have all of those family outcomes listed, and then the videos and workshops that support that family workshop. So we have that. Then this is also another place that you can access your state standards. Remember, you can access your state standards from that playlist editor. If you're creating a custom playlist, you can access it from there. And then this is also where you're going to access the alignment documents that we have for teaching strategies. And so just as a quick little refresher, when you click on the alignment to state standards, you click on that, then you click whatever age you need, either pre-K or infant toddlers, or if you're a kindergarten or something like that, you can do that. Then you choose your state, and then it will come up with all of those standards. And if you have your standards memorized, or you have, just time on your hand, you can just scroll through until you find the one that you want. Or you can do a Control F and put that standard in, or a keyword like rhyme or shapes or emotions or whatever it is that you are teaching that upcoming week. And then it will bring up that standard and all the Ready Rosie modeled moments that are aligned specifically to that standard. These are hyperlinks. And so when you click on those, they will take you directly to that video. And from there, you have the option, of course, like you do with any of the videos, to share that video directly with the family or a handful of children, or add it to a playlist that you're working on. So that's how you can align to your state standards. Now, the teaching strategies alignment documents, and I tried to make it as non-cluttered as possible. So we have this first one right here. It's just a blog, one of our blogs talking about the alignment. It's interesting, but it's not going to get you anywhere. But then again, depending on your age group, if you're working with infant toddlers, you would click on these intentional teaching experiences, or preschool, you would click on these. This thing right here, this section right here, the Creative Curriculum Studies playlist, that will take you to those tabs in playlist under resources. When you click on playlist in that black menu box, you see those tabs. So this is just another way to get there. But it will take you to all those playlists that we've written that are aligned to the different units of studies, as well as those first 6 weeks focus questions. And you might make yourself a note to go back and revisit those before the year starts, because those are great. Those focus questions of what are our rules? What do we do if we get sad? What names do we need to know? Those 6 focus questions that are in that creative curriculum. And then all of the units of study. If you click on any of the intentional teaching strategy, either the infant toddler or the pre-K one, we've listed all of the cards down here by the objective. And then again, these are all hyperlinks that will take you, that's aligned specifically to that ITE. It'll take you specifically to that video. And then of course, from there, you can share it out with a family, as well as add it to a playlist. So, so those are the alignment documents that we have currently in our resources. And just a little aside, completely unrelated, the alignment document that Carrie and her grad assistant aligned for us, we are currently making all of those hyperlinks for you guys. And so as soon as that is done, it will be under resources and alignment and curriculum docs. So I'll let Shauna know as soon as that is posted. So so that's coming. So
Betty, do you have kind of a general idea? Is that sooner or later than?
You know, that's a good question, Wendy. I'll just check in. I just need to check with Alicia and see where she is on that.
Okay, great. That's what we're planning to use with our Spanish speaking home.
Super. Okay.
Home
All
business.
right,
So I was just curious how long that would be.
Yeah, let me, I'm just making myself a note to check with Alicia to find out.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Teddy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then just a couple ways so that you can see that you can kind of link Ready Rosie to your My Teaching Strategies now as you're working. And so right now I'm in My Teaching Strategies. I've clicked on my week, so I'm doing my lesson planning. And if you click on add an activity right here, then when you click on custom activity, then you can put the name of the video that you want to use in your classroom, or that you want to share out with the family. You can actually put the hyperlink right here in your lesson plan. Just like you can add the Mighty Minutes, the intentional teaching experiences, you can add Ready Rosie by clicking on that custom activity. And then when you look at your lesson plan, it will be listed right there, emotions, if you're happy and you know it. When you click on those 3 little dots, you guys probably already know this, but that's where you can edit it. But then right here, if you've put that hyperlink on your lesson plan, when you click on that little up arrow or whatever that's called, share arrow or whatever, it will take you directly to that video. And so if you're one of those teachers that has your lesson plan open and you kind of follow that along, then you can just click from right there and it will bring up that video to share with your kiddos. So that's one easy way that you can include Ready Rosie in your lesson planning through My Teaching Strategies. Then another thing that you can do that a lot of our teachers are doing is if you're using the intentional teaching experience letters, and it's aligned there in that document that I showed you previously. If you, on the assess tab, it tells you that that question that we want, that we're looking for when we do the activity. We want parents to kind of let us know how it goes. And so you can just put that question right there. So if this is the paper, when I click on family and share it out with the family, I can put, if I'm creating a custom playlist through Ready Rosie as well, I can put that question right here in my message. I can say, after doing the activities, be sure and upload a picture or leave a comment telling me how many upper and lowercase letters your child recognized. So they can leave a comment on Ready Rosie if they want to do it that way, or if they are already comfortable using the two teaching strategy apps, the My Teaching Strategy and the Goal documentation one. They can click on that and they can upload a picture of their child doing the activity, or just a paper or whatever, that documentation that hopefully they're already familiar providing that documentation for you guys for Goal, that then you know how to attach it to that child. And so that's another way that you can get that documentation. And like I said, they can leave a comment in Ready Rosie. And at this point, you'll have to copy that comment and then paste it in that child's documentation, or they can upload it through, from the app that they're already hopefully familiar with using. So then, the other thing, I don't know if you guys are aware that we added to the My Teaching, My TS app for families, a lot of our books that are used in the library. And so again, some of the teachers are like some of the comprehension or the pre-reading, beginning reading activities where maybe it's, a picture walk, or, asking the who, what types of questions. They actually will copy they'll put the name of the book that they want the child to do in the playlist that they're creating in Ready Rosie with that modeled moment. And they'll say, use this book in your My Teaching Strategy app for this activity. So the parents don't have to worry about trying to find another book or anything like that. So, and we are adding more and more books to the app as we go along. So that's another way that you can kind of tie those two together. Then the other thing that I want you guys to really know or understand is there are so many of the either the intentional teaching experiences or the Mighty Minutes that are almost identical to our modeled moments. And so one teacher was sharing with me with a different program out of Louisiana. She said, my families that have access to technology, she said, I send the playlist out to them. And she said, sometimes even the printed playlist of the, you can print a copy of the playlist, but she said, I even have some families that's a little hard, but she will send the printed copy of the playlist and the matching intentional teaching experience, the family version, staple together and send both hard copies home. And so if they read the activity on the Ready Rosie playlist and they're still like, I don't really quite understand what I'm supposed to do, she said they can get the gist of the activity by reading that intentional teaching experience. And again, they basically are the same. So in this one, it's LL67, Objective 17A, and the intentional teaching experience, it's a mouthful, for the family is book cover memory game. And so it tells them to invite your child to play a memory game, show your child the covers of 2 or 3 books, discuss the title, author, main characters, place the books on the table in front of your child, ask him to close his eyes, remove one of the books, and then they have to say, which book is missing. And so here is the related modeled moments.
Do you remember all those books we've been reading lately? Okay, well, let's make up a game so we can be good readers. Do you know what good readers do? What? They think about the books even after they've read them. Is that not a good idea? So we're going to make up a game that talks about setting. That's where and when the book happened. Talks about characters, like who's in the book. Do you think it's a person or an animal? And it also, some books are about information instead of just a story, right? Right? Okay, so let's make up a game. But first, you got to find the books. Can you take them out of the backpack? Let's put them on the floor so we can make up this game. 1, 2. Come on, they kind of went everywhere. Ugh. let's put them so that we can see them. So I'm going to say something about each of the books, or some of the books, and I want you to guess which book I'm talking about. It might be tricky. Are you ready? Are you listening? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm thinking about a book where the penguin thinks he is so small, but everything else is so big. Which book? Right. I am small. Right. I'm thinking about a book where there is information about soccer and the alphabet. Yes, K is for kick. That's true. Okay, I'm thinking about a book, and this may be your favorite book in the whole world right now, where it's about how to count and to count to 100. I think this. Chicka chicka 1, 2, 3. Yup, you're right. Okay, here's my last one, and then you get to do one. I'm thinking about a book where it's a story about 2 silly cows. They're superheroes, and they save the day from the evil clowns. I think. Oh, you smushed the comic book. It's called Cutting Smarters, right? Okay, now you get to do one.
Okay. I'm thinking of the zero that joined with 10 to make 100. But the bumblebees get to the other numbers, and the other numbers all fall down, but zero doesn't fall down.
Right, because he makes it to the top?
Yeah.
Oh, that can only be chicka chicka 1, 2, 3. Is that right?
Right.
Yes, high five. Hey, we did what good readers do. We thought about the books, didn't we?
So again, basically the same, the same activity, just presented in two different formats. So a lot of teachers have started really looking at those that alignment to the ITEs, and sending home that that family section, this family version, I guess, I don't know what its technical name is, sharing that, and then the video as well. You can share the videos as well in that gold sharing with the family, share with the family. The only thing is it's not a hyperlink. And so they would just have to, type the name of the video in if you wanted to share the ITE and the video through the family share through Gold or My Teaching Strategies. It's not a hyperlink. So anyway, then lastly, I wanted to, and I'll send Shauna these dates with the with the hyperlinks to register. We are it's called Gold Modernization. And we are actually beta testing it right now, but they are making a lot of improvements to the Gold assessment right now. The overriding thing that they've heard from teachers, and you guys probably are going to think, thank the Lord, they're trying to reduce the number of clicks that you all have to do in Gold. I have to be honest and in full transparency, coming from Ready Rosie, which I think is a very, very easy app to use, and learning creative curriculum and cloud and Gold, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot what I was supposed to click on. And so they heard all of you guys saying that Gold assessment was cumbersome and things like that. And so they are making a lot of incredible improvements to it, as well as integrating Ready Rosie. And they will be having these two options, May 24th and May 27th. And we can certainly send those links out to you guys as they get closer as well, for admins, directors, and or teachers to attend. And they are always recorded. And so I can definitely send the recording out after they have happened. So anyway, so that, hopefully that made sense and didn't overwhelm anybody. So that's all I got on that. So.
Any questions for Wendy, sorry, Teddy?
Or Wendy. Wendy might have some answers.
Wendy. I do see, Teddy, I'm looking at kind of the list of participants that are on here. Can
Mhm.
you go to the list of approved curriculum that Ready Rosie aligns with? And I'm thinking probably a lot, and I do see some Head Start people, so I know a lot of this was probably very familiar to them. I'm just trying to think of some of those Child Care Center providers, some of those home providers.
Okay.
Curriculum might look a little different, and how
Right,
implementation is.
Yeah, let me share this. Hold on. You mean like all the alignment documents?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you guys want to look up, like if you have, because there is a list of curriculum for Step Up to Quality that you can choose from for your programs. And if you wanted to look at what Ready Rosie has to match up with curriculum, you can check on their list.
Sorry, just a second. You can see all the nitty gritty back end stuff there. So again, I'm going to alignments and curriculum maps. And so we do have the early Head Start and Head Start, state standards teaching strategies. These are all basically curriculum maps. So if you're like, okay, what exactly do they have for pre-K? You could click on that and see if you just want to see it all in one spot. But then we also have Circle. We are aligned to the Circle alignment, and then also the dyslexia curriculum map. So those are the alignment documents that we currently have. And then of course, as soon as the CDC milestone alignment is here, it will be right here. So so is that what you wanted me to show, Shauna?
Yeah, and could you go to,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Quick question. Can you go back? I have my Ready Rosie account open and I was trying to follow you, but you did go quite
Oh, okay,
fast.
I'm sorry, I know.
It's okay.
All right, so on your account, click on resources,
Uh-huh.
okay? And then scroll I personally think these should be in alphabetical order, but they didn't ask. Click on alignments and curriculum maps.
Mm-hmm. Now I found them. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah,
Now, will you click on state standards by state
okay.
and then
So,
click on Nebraska?
okay, so do you care if it's pre-K or infant toddler?
Let's do infant toddler. Just,
Okay, all right, let me come down here to Nebraska.
so
And so-
these,
Go ahead.
so if you're looking at kind of what the standards are across the state for infant toddlers, for those of you who may not be home visitors that are aligning curriculum up with public schools, or if you're actually working with infants and toddlers within your child care center or your home facility, this is a good resource page to look back at so that you can kind of see what our state standards are as far as the development and what's being taught, or at least experienced, let's put it that way, being experienced through those age groups.
Right.
And then all of the modeled moments that you can use to supplement some of that. And then, so creative curriculum is really, this lines up really well, creative curriculum. Does it break out that, Teddy?
No. That will be more in the fall, in August. Right now, you'd have to go through like the intentional teaching experiences.
Okay. So I do know a lot of the participations, the centers and homes or whatever, if you're not a public school or if you're not a Head Start or early Head Start and you're doing Step Up to Quality, creative curriculum is on the Step Up to Quality approved curriculum list. I know a lot of people do creative curriculum. I know there's other options too, and I think you could probably align a lot of your curriculum options that you have with a lot of these out when you're looking at the standards. So I think it's a really easy tool that you can utilize if you're doing Step Up to Quality, how you can implement Ready Rosie into that curriculum piece of it, no matter what curriculum you're using. But I do see, I know there's many of you right here that are Head Starts, early Head Starts, public school, preschools. A lot of that you guys already, it's already something you've been doing for quite some time. So I think you're familiar with it. I just wasn't sure how familiar a lot of our licensed providers are that are not working within the public school and early Head Starts and Head Starts to kind of how you can use this as a tool to supplement what you're doing in your programs.
Yeah, just as a quick reminder, if you're working on, you know, with some infants, you know, learning about self by exploring hands, feet, body, and movement, if that's a particular thing that you're working on, or a particular area that an individual child needs, like I said, these are hyperlinks, and so when you click on that, it's going to take you right to that video. And then from here, you can actually share just that one video out. You know, you could click every child in your classroom if you wanted to, or if there's just one child that needs it, you can click that. You can put a message, you don't have to share it, or you can, you know, copy the URL and send it in a text or an email, you know, some other way if you wanted to. So you can, you know, do that. And then here's where you would add it to a playlist that you might have been, you know, you might have been in the middle of working on or something. So, so those state standards, I think, not only for the whole classroom are good to align to what you're teaching, but also for that individualization or differentiation that you're doing for all those little individual little friends that you guys have. So.
And another way to kind of think about how Ready Rosie can work with you when you're doing Step Up to Quality is, so number 2, like the child outcomes, which is one of the quality standards. So if you were, say, Wendy said, going to use the milestone, the CDC milestone checklist, one of those outcomes for child outcomes is family involvement and development. So when you're doing your assessment and you want to supplement your family involvement in the development of that child, you can use that assessment tool and the modeled moments that are going to be lined up and put on this page to send out to those families to help meet that and get that point, earn that point for the family engagement and development piece of child outcomes. Another part of it is the number 4 quality standard, which is family engagement. It hits almost every single one of those family engagements for points for Step Up to Quality. So I think you could really, if you use it the way, and this truly is a family engagement curriculum tool. It really is, and that's what it's for. You can really use this as a piece to really help your program meet many points, not all of them, but many of them, to move up your steps of Step Up to Quality and do it easily and hit many points with just one video, you know, depending on how you're making it framed and sending it out. So there's so many useful tools for it to help you with the Step Up to Quality piece. And
Shauna,
really,
let me just interrupt you just a second real quickly, because you and I were talking about the social and emotional part of it too. And I'm just going to pick this one because it's the first one, and it probably isn't going to have it here. But, you know, we list the learning outcomes. And so, you know, a lot of our social and emotional ones are also included in some of those academic ones as well. And so you kind of get, you know, double points. You know, you're supporting, you know, for the child in a particular, let me see if I can find one. I should have had one at the ready, but hold on just a second. So you can kind of get 2 birds with 1 stone. You can support them academically as well as fulfilling some of those social and emotional things. Well, this is all, of course, this one is all social and emotional, but anyway, trust me, there are some that it's a combination of the, you know, or gross and fine motor development and social and emotional or things like that. So if you're ever, you know, just remember that you can see what learning outcomes are attached to each video right there under the name of the video. So sorry, go ahead.
Will you go back to library, Teddy? Another thing I wanted to make sure that you guys saw today too as a potential resource. And then when you go to filter by category, research and answers.
Yes.
There is many, I think if you just click on research and answers, they all come up, you can see, yeah. There, I think many useful videos on this that can be shared with families when, you know, if they come to you with something that's happening at home. I think you can find a really good, useful tool on a lot of these professionals to send out some supportive videos to families and give them some, make it meaningful, I guess. And that's probably the one thing that I'm mostly want to emphasize is that we're not going to get families to use it as a family engagement tool with you if it's not meaningful to them. So
Right.
I do feel this is a great resource library to kind of help build that relationship piece of it. Understanding like the temper tantrums, you know, who doesn't have to
Exactly.
deal with temper tantrums, you know?
Exactly.
So, and then there was the infant one. I think that's a really good one. If you're a childcare center and you have a new family coming to you with a brand new baby, and it talks about some, I happened to scan over it this morning, but it was just
Yeah.
talking about,
Let's
you know,
find it.
just having to be comfortable with a brand new baby. So
Right.
there was,
right.
it's just, would be a great introduction to a family who maybe hasn't experienced Ready Rosie. They're new to your center, new to your home. You send that video out and said, hey, you know, welcome baby Charlie. You know, this is a Ready Rosie video, and I'd like to share with you. I just think this is a really good resourceful tool for that family engagement piece to kind of get them familiar.
Mhm.
This is not really the modeled moments. This is really kind of a supportive videos for parents and caregivers, but
Right.
it's
Right.
a great way to kind of feel that comfort level.
Exactly. And all of the question was in the chat. All of these are in English and Spanish. And just like our modeled moments, we don't just, you know, refilm it with Spanish overlay or something. We, well, no, I guess this one we do. Whoops. But a lot of them, we actually have Spanish experts in the same field talking about, about that same thing. But these have been great, going along what Shauna said about when that parent is talking to you. I know when I was in the classroom, here, how can I communicate with my baby, bonding with my baby? But some of them too, where that parent comes and says, how do I get my child to listen to me? He just doesn't listen to me when I talk to him. If they share that in parent teacher conference, then there were so many times when I was in the classroom that I thought, I wish I had an article, because we didn't have this kind of technology back in the day, or a flyer or something that told them how to get their child to listen to them. And so these are great because they're 2 minutes, so it's not a 30-minute long, dissertation on how to get your child to listen to you. So you can send that, you can just share that one little video with that family. And so I just think these research and answer videos are probably the most underused in the library, but in supporting the families. One of the ones that I love, and I guess being in Texas, it's kind of a important part to me, but a lot of times parents are confused. Should I only speak English at home? Should I use my native language and things like that? And maybe it's just the crazy state of Texas where the pendulum has swung from, only speak English in your house, and parents are thinking, but I don't speak English, so how am I supposed to do that? To know children learn literacy and language in their native language, and so it's important for them to speak that native language in the home. And so check these out, because a lot of them, while maybe don't teach the parent something new, sometimes it just gives them peace of mind. So
yeah. And then for those that are not in English and Spanish, there are subtitles, and I believe, Teddy, 7 different languages. So I think probably for Nebraska, we might hit most of what potentially could be sent out and shared in a language that they could potentially be able to follow along with subtitles. And it's subtitles, and
right.
But subtitles, I think is more progress than still nothing at all. So. But the Spanish ones, a lot of them are Spanish family. They're the language, the families are all reflective of that culture. They are really good videos.
Yeah. So for this one in English, your Spanish speaking families would get this one if they had chosen Spanish as their preferred language. So all of our modeled moments are filmed in English with English speaking families and filmed in Spanish with Spanish speaking families. Some of the research and answer ones aren't. And just a little side note, I was looking at some data from one of my accounts, and one family had watched like over 4,000 videos. And I was talking to the admin, and I said, oh my gosh. And she said, that is actually one of our Spanish speaking moms. She's watching them with the English subtitles because she's teaching herself English. And I just thought, what a great useful tool, how resourceful. So so they also double as learning a second language. So
yeah. The only thing I can really emphasize is that next year, so beginning fall of next year, we will be ready to do another incentive implementation project, and we are really going to encourage that family engagement piece of it. So intentionally sending or scheduling playlist with a note from the teacher so that it's meaningful, so that it's a family member or caregiver would be willing to click on it and watch it. Because I don't think, like, sometimes if they're getting the Monday videos and then you're sending out a video and then their text message box gets filled up, their email box gets filled up, and they're just like not watching them at all. I'm just thinking that if the message that comes with the video can be meaningful to them and they say, oh yeah, this is something I want to watch. We're going to look for that. And I also really encourage you to encourage them to comment back. So asking, did you try this at home? How did it go? This might be hard. Was it? Or, something like that, just to see if you can get that response back. And really kind of start building that family engagement piece into the whole project, rather than just relying on the Monday modeled moment videos. And then when you're scheduling or sending out a video, maybe then start adding that piece of the family engagement tool. So I'm going to challenge you all that are on now, and any of those who listen later, to maybe start that practice now. Let me know how it goes. Sarah just unclicked. So Sarah, do you have a question?
I do. In talking with our home-based educators, especially now since we're doing a lot of our visits over Zoom, one way that they're using the Ready Rosie is like they're signing in under their account and pulling it up during the visit and showing it to the family and then talking about it in there. And so I just think as we go for next things, like how do we capture like that use of it? Because I think our families are really engaging and liking that, but they aren't necessarily logging into the app, even though they're engaging with it.
Right. I do know that a lot of the home visitors will just pull it up on their phone and, show it when they're in person, and then discuss it. And actually some of them have said, and we've actually then done the activity right there so that the parent, feels like they have a little, support person. So, so they do it that way. And then I just another thing.
Just for you, just so you know, when we look at usage, I can tell. So if a home visitor viewed a video, it will say viewed a video. So I pretty much am assuming, I maybe I shouldn't assume, but for either they're viewing the video for two reasons. One, are they viewing the video to see if it's something that's good that they want to send out? Two, they're viewing it either with a family member or within a group of kids. And so they're using it as a teaching moment and not necessarily sending it out. So I've kind of been looking at it that way. Now, how we capture kind of that in family engagement piece of that, sending it out, getting a response back, it may just kind of be dependent on when we're doing that outreach to say, hey, we're capturing family engagement, and you may be responding and letting us know that's what's happening. So if we're trying to find comments or whatever, we're not going to find the comments because they're doing it in person, which is what we love. Like, right? That's a great family engagement opportunity. Plus, and we even showed those opportunities on a training once to see how you could do family engagement with showing those videos. So I think we can still capture it. It's just maybe not going to be captured in those back and forth type messages that we can see. But as long as that experience is being related to us, that's good enough for me, if that makes sense. So as long as I just
And
think it could really be used such as a great tool. And this is, like you said, one really good way to do that.
And I guess I have another question. So, as an admin, I know I can see when they log in, like all the teachers, and I can see if it's recent activity,
Mhm.
right? And like they watch that videos.
Mhm.
And maybe this is just a follow-up question individually for you, but I don't know that I can collectively see like over the last month, teachers watch this many videos. I think my data just shows, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say about the Monday playlists that we can keep in mind, because all of you all are set up as individual districts, and it's not just big, huge Nebraska district. All of you all are your own district. We do have some partners that say, we want our families just focusing on the playlist that we send out. So turn off the Monday playlists. And we can do that district by district. We can't do it individual teacher or individual site. The pros to that is your families are just getting those that you want them to get. And then, and their inbox or text, box isn't getting overwhelmed. The downside to that is if you don't send anything out, your families get nothing. So you have to really be committed to sending out those custom playlists. And in the beginning, really, the teachers that I know who get like 100% of their families watching the videos in the playlist and leaving a comment, when I've said, oh my gosh, how do you do that? They'll say, we take the first 2, 3, 4 weeks of the year, really, staying on top of it. And if a parent doesn't, we're, sending them a message and saying, don't forget to watch the video, and, just like you do, in getting them to, send the backpack and all those things that you want them to get into the habit and the routine of. But know that, that we can do that. In the fall, if that's something that, you're like, no, we really are going to commit to the custom playlist, and, and we don't want to overwhelm our parents. They still have the ability to explore the library and, do all of that, but they won't be getting 2 sets of playlists. So keep that in the back of your mind.
That's good to know, Teddy, because I have had a couple of facilities reach out to me to say, we're trying to engage them in Ready Rosie, but they came from a program that had it, and they don't want me to sign them up because they said they didn't open the videos that came. And so I was like, well, that's, but I also know that if you intentionally can make it important to the family, they will watch it. I know Nicole is on. So I do think, Nicole, one idea that I tossed around with a couple of programs was to do a family night. It could be in a smaller, like if it's only for, say, a child care center, so a certain program, or maybe by district. They did so Nicole did a family night. She had some iPads open with some Ready Rosie videos. The family watched the video, and then they did the activity together for a family fun night. That might be a good way to introduce Ready Rosie to families so that they see what those modeled moments are and how they could, and if you had different age groups, so if you had some infant toddler ones, maybe some preschool ones, and then some older ones, so that they could see that they would be relatable to the age of the children they have, that they're easy things to do and the videos are short. That might be a way to introduce it to them so that when they start getting those text messages or emails, they know what it is and why it's important to watch. So Nicole, I'm just curious, how did that go for you?
I think it went really well. One of the things that I would do differently is we were set up in a semicircle in the gym of the YMCA, and all of our families came in the same 45 minutes. And so it got really loud, and I wasn't thinking about that. I hadn't planned for that. And I had all 3 Ready Rosie stations lined up because I had the iPads plugged in. And so it got to the point where the providers, they couldn't even hear the video. So we had to put the video to the side, and the providers just modeled. So if I had to do differently, I don't know that separating, but I would find a better place to do them. I would be conscious of the sound and make sure that I put the iPads in a place where families would be able to hear them. But I think the providers who worked those centers said it went really well. The families engaged. I talked to one parent today who said he was amazed at how simple the ideas were and how quickly the kids could catch on to them and then take it home and repeat it, but things that he had never thought of before. So I think just for them having a chance to see, hey, this is easy, this is quick, this is something we can do, really does go home with them.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Has anybody else had real great success with just how your parents got engaged or how you introduced it to them so that they, when you were sending playlists, they were opening them, looking at them, and hopefully utilizing them within the home setting? I think that's something that Teddy and I might brainstorm. So come the fall might be something that we can train and give you some ideas to help. Because the last thing I want to do is to support you all with this wonderful tool and then not have families utilize it because they're overwhelmed maybe with inboxes or, you know, but I think if we can introduce it, help you introduce it to them, and then make it meaningful, you'll have more success on that family engagement piece, which is what we want to see. Right. So we'll work on that. That is a challenge for us, I think.
Well, and one thing that I know I've seen done that has kind of opened the door of Ready Rosie to families is every time, now it hasn't gone as smoothly during the pandemic, but pre-COVID, anytime a center had a meeting, whether it was a federal meeting, whether it was a, you know, whatever meeting they were having, whether it had anything to do with Ready Rosie or not, anytime they were having a meeting or having parents come up, they started every meeting with a Ready Rosie video kind of as an icebreaker. And so the parent, you know, they watched it, it was 2 minutes, and then they did the activity at their table with either, you know, other adults, or if it was a meeting where their children were there as well. And then they would just say, you know, this is just one of the activities that are available to you in your Ready Rosie app. And so just constantly sharing different little ideas, but you know, a lot of them work well as icebreakers. So, but Shauna and I'll put our heads together.
Yeah. Other than that, does anybody have any kind of report on any family engagement activities that you did besides Nicole's that she just did last week that you would like to share, how it went, so that we can share resources with other people on?
We did an online event, and I don't remember exactly the tool they used. Our FES team really led it, but we actually didn't use the Give Me 10 because it didn't hit the mark exactly of where we wanted to go. Mm-hmm. So they took the hour-long, I don't remember what they're called. And one of the things they said they really liked about it was they could downloaded the PowerPoint, and then as a team, they took out slides so that it was really tailored to kind of the mark they wanted to hit. And it was nice because while we didn't have great attendance, the format of the Ready Rosie slide gave a nice, I guess, mix of like parent interaction and talking and videos where it didn't feel kind of condensed. But one of the things that team really said they loved is that, one, they didn't have to start from scratch, but two, they could condense down to really hit the mark for what they wanted to share with families.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up, Sarah, because every single one of our hour-long family workshops and the 30-minute extension, and I think you guys have heard me say, I don't know who we thought we were writing them for that had an hour, let alone an hour and a half to spend with their families. They are written in kind of little modules or sections that are in and of themselves kind of standalone, you know, and so absolutely, I'm glad that you guys did that. That's great to hear.
You want to show them, Teddy, on your screen how they find those, just for those who might not.
When you click on resources, come down here to Family Workshops and Give Me 10s. And these that are the kind of orangey red color are the hour long with the 30-minute extension. And then all of these are the Give Me 10s. The Give Me 10s, just so you guys know, were developed and written in response to partners saying, we don't have that kind of time with our families. We've got 10 minutes at drop off or pick up or before another meeting or something like that. But when you click on, you know, any of them, whichever one you use, you do get the facilitator guide and the PowerPoint in English or Spanish. We've got that planning list if you know, have never done a family workshop before, the pre and post surveys. But what I was talking about and what Sarah was saying is that they are written, tells you everything you need. But so for instance, the welcome and warm up is 10 minutes. You know, if you look at that and you think, well, we're going to do our own welcome, skip that part. If you decide you want to just start with, you know, relationships matter, or just doing this little 10-minute section of, you know, everybody has an emotional piggy bank and putting emotional, you know, positive deposits in their emotional piggy bank. You can do for 10 minutes just using this one slide, and we try to incorporate those same learning things that we like as adults into all of our family workshops, so they are engaging. Sarah, I don't know if you noticed any of them, but anytime we have the families write, so that we are honoring all education levels and literacy levels, we will say, just jot it down or draw it if you don't want to write it, so that we're not, you know, making anybody feel badly that maybe they can't write. But then again, you know, this section on play, you would need slides 6, 7, and 8. And then, so you could combine that one with the piggy bank and this one on play if you just had 20 minutes or whatever, or pick and choose the sections. And as Sarah said, just, you know, delete or hide those slides that you don't want to do that particular time or don't fit your individual needs. But they are all written in a manner with an activity, a practice, maybe a second activity, a debrief, and a summary. So so each section can be a standalone thing. So
Do you want to talk about Summer Soar real quick?
yes. Summer Soar, just real quickly, we do have our summer content, and it's down here at the very bottom. And there are two different, you don't have to do anything, and your families will get our summer content, which begins about mid-June and goes till about mid-August. It's just, it's from our regular library, but it's more, you know, some of the multi-generation things. So if you have multi-age children, they can, you know, it's an activity where they can all participate in. It doesn't just have to be with the 2-year-old or whatever. But then you guys also have the option, again, we've got a Give Me 10 that explains it to your parents. But you can download and print this little game board. Think old-fashioned library reading, summer reading programs where you have the little thing to keep track of your reading over the summer. And so for the 10 weeks, each week has a different theme. And after they do the activities for that week, they can color in the, you know, the square, cross it off or whatever. You can also, there's a little letter that children can draw a picture of what they think an adventure would be. And then the letter just kind of says, you know, we're going to get to do this summer adventure. I'm excited. And then, so you can download all of those in English or Spanish. Here's the little letter telling, you know, the families what you want them to do. Here's the game board. And then if you want to, you can also print out a hard copy of all the playlists, even though they're going to be getting them every Monday at the beginning of each of those weeks. So you can do all of that, or just send out the game board or the little letter. A lot of the teachers will have the children bring back this little game board in August. If they're going to be at the same location or whatever, just, you know, for for a sticker, a hug, whatever, just to kind of show what they've done, what they've done over the summer. So, are the playlists already created in the library? A good question here. Let me just double check real quickly. They've been changing things, and it's kind of hard to keep up here. And so when you click on playlists, the home learning activities, these are different ones than the summer SOAR ones. So they don't have them listed up here. And I don't think they're going to put them up there. Of course, you'll always be able to see what's going out by clicking on schedule over here, upcoming. And as it moves into June, you'll start seeing the summer SOAR content listed over here. So, all right.
All right. Any questions? Not. It is 3 o'clock. I do want to honor our time. I just would like to remind you though, any of your teaching staff that qualified for the 101 and some odd cent e-gift certificate to Lakeshore, if you're using them, if you used it, if you'll please share that in an email with me of what purchases you made with that and what Ready Rosie modeled moments you might be tying them back to, or just what kind of learning experiences you plan to do with that. If it's something that you're sending home with families so that they actually have at home, or if it's something that you're utilizing for classrooms, I would love to hear that. I'm kind of keeping a log of what's been sent to me so that if I can have a chance to kind of share that out as a group. So you all, if you haven't spent your money yet, might need some ideas of how you want to spend it. So I do think a lot of people got busy and started spending though, because I've been starting to hear quite a bit, which is good to know. Also, I've had a couple people email say that a staff or two did not get theirs. We've been easily corrected that through Lakeshore, and they've sent to correct email. So if you have any glitches with not getting, if you're hearing from teachers that maybe they did not get that, by now every single teacher who qualified should have had it. So if they were on your qualifying list and they did not get it, please let me know. Other than that, I'm going to let you all go. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.